Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final panel of day one of the Right Crowd 2022, presenting the independent authors of the Storytellers and Legends Convention. My name is Katelynn Rentería, and I myself am an independent author from the Rio Grande Valley. So I see our viewership numbers climbing. Hello, everyone. So if you're on Facebook or on YouTube tuning in, please feel free to leave a comment, say hello. This is an interactive panel where all of our wonderful panelists are being live streamed. And then if you want to say hi, if you want to ask a question, please feel free to do so. And we are engaging with audience and viewership here today. So for those of you that don't know what the Right Crowd is, maybe you're scrolling through Facebook, you hop on and you want to learn more. The Right Crowd is a virtual literary expo that I created in 2020. Through the pandemic, everyone was staying home for health and precautionary measures, and that was good for safety. But that human connection was sort of hindered, and we weren't, as authors, we weren't able to meet the readers and meet other writers, and it was somewhat of a struggle to keep that connection through the year and so forth. So the Right Crowd 2020 was something that I created in order for authors of all different places. The first Right Crowd had people from the UK, Texas, different places in the United States, and we were able to connect and share our stories with the readers and the audience, and it was fantastic. And this Right Crowd is particularly special because this is showcasing the authors that will be attending the Storytellers and Legends Convention in February. So I am incredibly excited to discuss the Storytellers and Legends Convention. I'll give a bit more information as the panel progresses, but this convention is unprecedented. It will take place in Mission, Texas, February 20th through the 26th, 2023. And this convention is going to have authors, illustrators, composers, video game developers, voice actors, celebrities, as well as independent authors. And I will show some really cool promo images that we haven't posted them on Facebook yet. They've been shown on the Right Crowd panels, but it's going to be very exciting, and I am very, very happy to be joined by some wonderful panelists here today talking about their children's books. So we can begin by talking about Children's Book Nook on this Right Crowd 2022. So as people log in and say hello, maybe one by one in order on the screen, you all can introduce yourselves by saying hello, and then briefly discuss the title of your books, starting with Miss Rosa Linda Cruz.
Hi, everybody. Rosa Linda Cruz from Los Fresnos, Texas, and I have books in two categories: children's, of course, which is the Dinosaur Boys, my favorite bubbles, the Ha Ha Hee Hee Ho Ho, and then I also have workbooks for counseling.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. And Mr. David Norec, introduce yourself and tell the internet world the title of your story.
Hey guys, so I'm the author of the award-winning children's book, The Adventures of Exo and Psy. This is book number one in a series of 7 books, and yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much, Katelynn.
Thank you. And Miss Ana Cavazos, say hello and tell us the title of your works.
Hi, thank you for having me, Katelynn. My name is Ana Cavazos, and I'm the author of Education, which is a short story, resource for children for writing an illustrated book, which won an award. I'm so happy about that. And one that I have in progress, which is that YouTube fairy, and I'll discuss that a little bit more. I hope to launch it at the Storybooks, the Legends Convention, Storytellers and Legends Convention. That's a tongue twister.
Thank you so much. And Miss Claudia Villarreal, introduce yourself and tell us the title of your works.
Hi, first of all, thank you, Kate, for inviting, us to this panel. I'm super excited. And I also, my name is Claudia Villarreal, right? And I have 2 children's books, The Alphabetico, so the Vowels, and The Bully Who Learned to Love, that has also won several awards that I'm excited about. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So I'm very excited, and I see some likes and hearts coming in. I see viewership numbers climbing. So hello to everyone watching. Please feel free to leave a comment, ask a question, say hello. This is an audience interactive panel, so if anyone wants to ask the panelists questions, if they say something and you think it's cool and you want to chime in, please feel free to do so. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the likes. And so now that the viewership numbers are climbing a little bit more, we can go into more in-depth introductions. So again, one by one, if you all could please introduce yourselves in this time, talk a little bit more in depth about your stories, what they're about, maybe where they came from, starting with Miss Rosa Linda Cruz.
So my books are in two different categories. They're children's stories. They're very silly, but I think it's a big reminder of how to live life with joy. And I feel like our children and grandchildren are a reminder of that. I'm also a licensed professional counselor. So I have a second group of workbooks, and they're based on breathing techniques and laughter yoga and tapping solution and just a whole bunch of other skills that I started to introduce into our communities. And then someone just planted a seed and said, you really should put them in books with some, simple illustrations and directions so that we can like have a take home workbook. And that's what I did. So that's how I came up with that particular idea. But I've got a couple of those out there.
Thank you so much. As a how do I say, like, enthusiast advocate for positive psychology, I very much love the workbooks and your laughter yoga. I've been able to be a part of it, like at events and stuff, and it's always so much fun. So thank you for sharing. And David Norec, if you could share a little bit more about yourself, your story. What is The Adventures of Exo and Psy?
The Adventures of Exo and Psy is, of course, a play on the word exercise, and it's an interactive book. Exo and Psy live in a town called OB City, where Mayor Diane Beatties wants everyone to be unhealthy. And in this first book, she sends Chip and his dog Nacho, who represent potato chips, to steal everyone's snacks. And as kids read the book, there are 11 different exercises that kids get to do, so they get an exercise workout from reading the book. And now I get to unveil, look at this, Fit Lit Championship belt. So when I go visit schools, kids can take a picture with the belt if they are Fit Lit champions, which is the name of the company that I'm starting, because the next book is going to be called The Adventures of Aero and Bix, or Aerobics. And so it's all going to fall under the Fit Lit or fitness literacy category.
I love that so much. It's interactive. It's exciting. I can just imagine the little, like first graders with the big old belt. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. And Miss Ana Cavazos, tell us a little bit more about your titles and what we can expect when we pick up one of your books.
My third field student education, pardon me, is a short story, and it's depicting a day working in the fields of the Rio Grande Valley. It is something that my mother did for us one summer, and so my goal for the story was to capture the sights and the sounds, such as like the slam of the screen door, the carne guisada tacos, the trip to the field, how it felt. It was cold, it was early. Sure drove the message home to go to school, get an education, and don't do this for the rest of your life. So this one, this story right here, this resource book right here, was actually created because children would come up to me and ask me, how do I write my story? How do I get started? How can I do that? And so I put this together. It's chock full of templates, chock full of how-tos, just kind of to organize your thoughts and write your story, hopefully. And is that Tooth Fairy? This is actually a story of culture clash. So this truly happened to my brother. He lost his tooth and he didn't know what to do with it. Grandparents and mom said, throw it on top of the house for it. But the teacher was saying, no, put it under your pillow and the tooth fairy will come and take it and leave you a coin. So he had to go to school. He had to talk to mom to figure out what he wanted to do, which culture he was going to honor. And so you have to read it to find out what he does. And I also include in the appendices, I include a culture, the tooth fairy from different cultures. For example, just in Turkey, they don't celebrate with a tooth fairy. They bury the tooth in then by the office of whatever career they want their child to grow up to be. For example, if they want to go if they want to be a doctor, they'll take it to the doctor's office and they'll live there. Or if a teacher, take it to the school. So here, this is when I give the kids an open-ended question. So where would you bury it if you wanted to be an astronaut? And so the thinking starts, and they say, we would probably shoot it up in a ball of wax. And I have to say, no. So then they would say something like, well, no, NASA and Houston take care. And the ones that don't know, don't have anything else to say. But now I've seen the shift. Now they say, let's take it to the starbase and bury it there. So it just, it takes that great rapport with children and it's a rite of passage for everyone. Everyone can relate to it. So those are my 3 books.
Thank you so very much for sharing. I didn't know that about the burying at the future occupation. That's super interesting. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And Miss Claudia Villarreal, please tell us a little bit more about your titles.
Okay, so the Alphabet Thief Who Stole the Vowels, that was my very first book. That's almost, I think, 12 years old now. And it's getting revamped this year. So we're going to come up with a second edition of Alphabet Thief Who Stole the Vowels. And that's about a thief who comes into our world because in his world, he doesn't have, so they can't, spell the words, they can't pronounce the words. So he comes and takes our vowels, but then none of our words make sense. So we're faced with that problem. So in the end, he learns that he has to share the vowels. So, everybody gets to use the vowels, and it shows the importance of the vowels. And it also leads to, the importance of reading and reading words and things like that. And the bully who learned to love is about a bully who becomes a buddy. He goes through different emotions. He's always used to making fun of people, hurting other people, but one day he feels like, oh my goodness, something doesn't feel right? So he gets that little, pinch in his heart. And so he finds somebody that helps him understand, why we need to be kind, why we need to accept others, why we need to accept the differences in others and embrace them. And in the end, he learns he has to be a buddy. So that is the story of the bully who learned to love. And I'm excited because along with the second edition of the first book, which is the Alphabet Thief Who Stole the Vowels, I am coming up with the vowels. So hopefully the second edition with the new book will be coming out in 2023. And I'm excited about that.
That's super exciting. Thank you so very much for sharing. And we had quite a few comments coming in while we were discussing, while we were introducing Frank Brewster III, who is also an author from the Rio Grande Valley, said, Katelynn, my hero. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate you so much. And Rosa Linda Cruz, while you were sharing your story, he said, awesome. And he also said, hi, Anna, love the literature. And he said, I love the title, Claudia, for The Bully Who Learned to Love. So super, super, super cool. And again, to anyone watching on Facebook or YouTube, please feel free to drop a comment. Hearts and likes are very much appreciated. And we are going to start jumping into the panelist questions. I have my pre-written questions already, but if you all would like to ask the panelist questions, please feel free to do so. It's going to be a fun, interactive event, and I have some cool information about the Storytellers and Legends Convention at the end, so be sure to stick around. But my first question to you all is to ask, where are you tuning in from? So, Ms. Rosa Linda Cruz, where are you tuning in from for us today?
I'm tuning in from Los Fresnos, Texas.
Very nice. And David Norec, where are you tuning in from?
I am tuning in from the unhealthiest city in the entire United States of America, Mission, Texas.
Yes. Yes. And Ms. Ana Cavazos, where are you tuning in from?
I am hailing from Harlingen, Texas.
Me too. And Ms. Claudia Villarreal, where are you tuning in from?
I am currently in San Antonio, Texas.
Very nice. So we've got some Rio Grande Valley representation, and we have some San Antonio representation and Texas representation all around, which is always super fun. But my second question, but origin-wise, the question, first one here for you all today is, where did your journey as a writer begin? This could be actually writing, or it could be becoming an author, but where did this whole, books and writing journey begin for you, starting with Miss Rosa Linda Cruz?
It actually just started with, I've always done journal writing, which I never really considered to be like writing, if that sounds funny, but I just thought, it's something that I enjoyed doing. But when my grandchildren began to come into my life, they are so funny that they really inspired me to go back to not only writing, but to create stories about how funny they were. And somebody planted a seed that they really liked some of the stories. And so I submitted my first one to a small publishing company and it got accepted. My children's stories really revolve an awareness for us as adults about the inner joy and how present they are and how they are always filled with awe and wonder. And it's just amazing to see the world through their eyes. It makes you feel more energetic and just appreciative of everything that happens. And then that continued because along with my children's stories, which I have been very blessed with and inspired by my grandchildren, I love counseling. That is like my field, and I come from an educational setting. So anytime somebody makes recommendations or suggestions, I sort of just flow with it. That's just like the perspective and it's just ingrained in us if you're from the educational background. And so I actually have started doing pro bono presentations with mental health strategies way before COVID even hit, way before COVID. And people would come up to me and they would say, we really love this, but do you have something simple and illustrations and things like that? And I said, you know what, I think I can come up with that. And it just started evolving from that. And then we had COVID, and it literally, I had thought I was doing too much actually of my own educational setting, workplace and therapy and so forth. I was working 15 hours a day and I thought I better slow down. Well, then COVID hit. And about, things got really noisy because there was a lot of stuff going on, but it got really quiet because everybody was like, centered at home and, being encouraged to stay there. But like literally within weeks, people were knocking on my doors and saying, we need more of this. And I just like went from one book to 2 to 7 to 10. And really it was because of people that I had shared with previously and just encouraged. And I just kind of like went with it. So my categories from the children's book to the workbooks really stem from a love of my grandchildren and from the educational setting and from my counseling perspective. And that's how that journey began.
I love that. And I love how it can come from so many different spheres of our life, from occupation to passion to family, and then it can all fall under the umbrella of literature and books. And you reach so many different people from so many different avenues, and that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. And David Norec, where did your journey for writing begin?
It actually started. I wanted to write not a children's book, but either a teen or adult book, adult novel. And just by accident, after I lost my brother and sister to diabetes, I was driving home and simple prayer to God, and I was inspired to write this book, The Adventures of Exo and Psy. And so it was a challenge, just never having written a children's book, never having thought that I would ever write a children's book. I just when I got that idea, I started visiting, like Barnes and Noble, talking to parents. I was teaching at the time. I would talk to my students and get feedback that way. And then that was it. I just started writing. And so it's opened up a lot of doors. And yeah, I still hope to write something more for adults, but right now this is where I'm at with this.
Thank you so very much for sharing. And Miss Ana Cavazos, where did your journey as a writer/author begin?
I think my journey began way back when I would read. I was an avid reader. I remember reading an entire series. I remember talking to librarians way back, a weak child who was very shy, and asking them, please buy some more books because I ran out of books already. And so I think my love for reading, which then transitioned to writing, started there. I remember that my father was a reader. He always either read the newspaper, he had magazines all the time, he had Reader's Digest always. So I think that literature-rich environment that I grew up in kind of planted that seed. And then as I grew up, my girls were also had a literature rich environment. I was a teacher, then I transitioned to a librarian position. And when I got my first library, I went home. I mean, that was it. I had all the books. I read the books way before any of the kids did. And so I was able to recommend books. I love science fiction. I love dystopian novels. I love young adult novels, children's books. So what I did see though is that there was a gap. There was a gap in stories about people of the Rio Grande Valley, about our culture. And I'm not talking about phenomenal, phenomenal stars or anything like that. I'm talking about daily life. I want to take a peek and look back and see what daily life was for my grandparents, my parents, other kids like me. I wanted to see if I was like them at that time. And so I didn't see that. And so I thought we need more of that. And so now I'm hearing all these new voices. David Bowles, Javier Garza, we hear all of these stories that are wonderful that were not there when I was a child, that were not there at the beginning of my career. So we are growing, we are capturing those stories, but there are so much to tell. So I think that that's where my journey started, the gap in the libraries, the fact that I could read stories about my family, all of that started inspiring me to write. And so I write to capture stories for future generations, whether it's my grandchildren or other children, so they can look back and see what we lived like.
Thank you so much for sharing. And it's true. It's wonderful the avenues that writing can open and sort of provide for people, especially, we grow up loving the characters, loving the stories, but there's something extra special about seeing yourself in the characters with like the representation and like such little things like, oh, they live in a place where I'm from, or oh, they look like me, but that means the world for readers and to make that connection even more of a beautiful thing. So thank you so very much for sharing. And Miss Claudia Villarreal, where did your journey as a writer begin?
Well, I think my journey as a began a lot sooner than my journey as a when I was young. I would remember watching my mom's bedroom at night, and she's always held up with a good book. It was like, always by her bedside. Then in the fourth grade, my fourth grade teacher, Miss Martinez, I remember, every day after lunch, she would read us 15 minutes of, Super Fudge and Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. So I remember looking forward to that. And then as a teacher, because I too was a teacher along with everybody else in the panel, I think, I remember that story time was my favorite time. So my love of reading wasn't me I was a little girl and through my adulthood, But writing, I always say that my career as a writer was actually chosen for me because my books were both all my books have been started the same way, waking up at 3, 4 in the morning, and just all these words come into my head, and I write them down. And I know I've said this before, and I say it again. I always say they're a gift from God, because waking up at that time. So my love of writing then began after and into adulthood and after teaching. So that's how my books got started.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. And we had a few comments coming in while you all were sharing your origin stories. And one of them came from Frank Brewster III. Again, he is an author, and he says, congratulations to all authors and continued success in all of your endeavors. Sorry, I need to leave as I'm out of town, but Merry Christmas from San Antonio, Texas. Thank you for tuning in, Frank. And we also had a comment come in from Mr. Michael Betancourt saying, writing and storytelling is the result of life mixing with passion. And I love that a lot, because there's absolute truth to that, where this for a lot of us, and it goes to the question that I have next for you all. This tends to be a labor of love. A lot of times we have other things going on, whether it's an actual job or other things with life, but we find the time. And then that passion is a result of, like Claudia, you said, dreams where you wake up and it's just there, or our own life experiences, like with you, Anna, or your passions, Rosa Linda, or things that have influenced your life. And then you want to make a change and a difference, like you, David. So it's absolutely that result of life mixing with passion. So again, to anyone watching on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to say hello, feel free to drop a comment, ask a question. And my next question for the panelists here is, what is your current occupation and how do you balance that with writing? So this could be a job, it could be retirement, you could be a full-time writer and author. But how do you balance writing with everything else happening in your life? Starting with Miss Rosa Linda Cruz.
So I am a retired educator. I was a teacher for about half of my educational setting career, and then I transitioned into school counseling. But while I was doing the school counseling, I wanted to have a better foundation for providing skills and resources to my students, and I transitioned into licensed professional counseling. So I made the decision to retire from educational setting, and I'm now a licensed professional counselor with a small private practice, but I also provide presentations and I do contract work with family program agencies. And where do I find time for writing? That's a really good question. So, I think everybody has their own style, and I don't think it's wrong or right, but I'm one of those people that I'm just inspired by an event or a moment, and my brain will not let go of it. And then I just start writing away. And it's like with anything else, you have to build on it, you create it, you revise it, you edit it. And then finally, when you think you have it polished, you run it through some other people and then you put out what you have. But it's just when I'm inspired or when I have an idea and I just write it down and I just don't let it go until I'm able to finalize and put it all together. So that's my writing process.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing. And it is difficult to find the time, I feel, especially with all the other things. But when you finally get into that groove and you're able to sort of create, and then, of course, the final product, having it in your hands and sharing it with readers, it makes all those sleepless nights and scribbled notes on napkins, it makes it all worth it. But and Mr. David Norec, what is your current occupation, or how do you balance writing with maybe other projects that you have going on?
This is what I do full time. I was up. Was it yesterday? Was my last presentation for the 2023 calendar year? But every single day I have been booked for school. Almost half of next calendar year is already booked, and that keeps me so busy. So I'm doing this full time, and then I'm loving every minute of it. It's the travel, meeting different people, just getting inspired by the kids that I present to every day, and then along with writing, Katelynn, you inspired me to go after my master's, and so I'm doing that right now as well. I had that opportunity, and I'm in the middle of writing the next book, which I need to finish soon, so that my illustrator can get done with the illustrations and I can have it released next November. I try to release a new book every November to coincide with Diabetes Awareness Month. And so, yeah, so doing this full time, and just, I have to purposely make time to write because otherwise I won't get it done. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Thank you for that. And I feel like that's a great duality to show where, you can have the other occupation and write, or this can be the gig. This can be the thing that you continue to do, because I feel like a lot of people think you write the books and then that is all, but it opens up so many avenues to where you can go to libraries, you can go to schools, you can meet students. There's a lot more to the job than just, write the books and then put them out there. And that means the world to me. Just wishing you all the best in pursuing the masters and getting it done, because it's hard. And that is an accomplishment. That is a full-time career in and of itself. So wishing you all the best in continuing to pursue that, and thank you so much. And Miss Ana Cavazos, what is your current occupation, or how do you balance writing with other things going on in life?
Well, let's start by saying that my dad calls me Uber because I am a retired educator, librarian. I was a teacher, librarian. You know how to wear many hats, technologist, whatever. But I am retired now, and I think retired to me means tired again. but it works out really well. I think in the beginning I was struggling with being retired, but now I think I have settled into it, and I love it. I love being able to be there for the family. And besides, in terms of writing, I am a pantser, not a planner. So I kind of sit down and write whenever I can, whenever I get the drive, whenever I feel like it. I can't sit here and put it into a plan and execute it that way. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. So it kind of fits. It fits really well for me. So I love that I have my own office in my house. I can come in here and just think and do whatever I need to do. But I also can get up and go for my family, or plan a speaking engagement or something like that. But I am taking it as basic. I am pacing myself. I'm not trying to go out there and do something, in an all-fire hurry, because 30 years of that was a lot for me already. So I enjoy it.
Thank you so much for sharing. And it is a lot to balance all the little things, but I know just having like that little space, like having the little home office, even if it's like for me, it's like a little corner of the living room, and I'm like, wow, like put books on the shelf, and you feel like, all right, let's get working. So it's exciting. But Miss Claudia Villarreal, what is your current occupation, or how do you balance writing with other aspects of your life?
Well, currently, this is too is what I do. I would say 3/4 of the time. I wouldn't say full time, but I'm very busy here, thank God, with a lot of school presentations, South Texas, Houston, and I wanted to become, an everyday thing. So I'm working towards that for next semester. But I am a certified teacher. I'm thinking about getting my master's in speech language pathology. I haven't gone back to teaching. During the pandemic, I got my real estate license, and I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I did own a franchise. I owned the Edible Arrangements for 9 years. So at the time, I had like Edible Arrangements. I was doing school presentations full time. I was, auditioning, acting, going back and forth, and I had a transportation company. When during the pandemic, everything left. So I went from doing all that to focusing solely on trying to come up with products and things for the new book, which came out right before the pandemic, right? The Bully Who Learned to Love. So I'm trying my full-time job again, and I'm working towards getting my master's as well.
Wonderful. A lot of hats to juggle, but that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all so very much for sharing. And I'm seeing a lot of likes and a lot of hearts coming in. Thank you all so very much. And again, if you'd like to ask a question, if you just want to say hello, if one of our lovely panelists says something and you're like, hey, that's cool, feel free to chime in and contribute to the conversation. But my next question is geared towards the Storytellers and Legends Convention. So the Storytellers and Legends Convention is going to be the Rio Grande Valley's first literary pop culture event. It's going to be different because it's sort of that Comic-Con feel with family-friendly, education-oriented entertainment. There's going to be the authors, the independent authors, the featured guests, but celebrities, voice actors, video games. So my question to you all is, have you ever been to a Comic-Con before? And have you ever seen an event like this one? Starting with Miss Rosa Linda Cruz.
So my answer is no. I've never been to an event like this, but I'm super excited. And I'm really excited because you're also going to be bringing in a lot of local authors, and you're going to have a lot of authors that are, for me, really important, which is like from Hispanic background. And you're going to have students see that. And so you're going to have a variety of people out there representing different cultures, different backgrounds, and some of them from their very own backyard. So I really love that, and I'm so excited to be a part of that.
Thank you. That really means a lot. The whole, purpose of this convention is to sort of give that avenue to fans of any age, but particularly students and the youth, where, if you want to grow up and make music for movies, you can do that. If you want to grow up and write books and stories, you can do that. And so the independent authors, usually Comic-Cons have what's called Artist Alley. For us, it's Author Alley. So it'll be a lot of independent authors. And again, that was also very close to our hearts to give the independent authors the platform to share their stories, but also particularly Rio Grande Valley as well, where these students that are going to be coming and visiting, they're from cities where they're from, they're from the neighborhoods that they're from, the backgrounds that they're from, the culture that they're from, sort of reflect that. Thank you very much for adding that as a piece. Yay, the message is getting across. So exciting. And so, David Norec, have you ever been to a Comic-Con before, or have you ever seen an event like this one?
I love going to Comic Cons. I'm a big nerd like that. I like going out there and just seeing different people, meeting different people, the cosplay, all that cool stuff. I'm so glad that there's finally something for authors, to showcase their stuff, and so really excited for it, and I'm glad to see something like that in my backyard.
Thank you so much. And yes, I think one of my favorite parts of the Comic Cons is the cosplay. Just because, like, when else are you gonna get to go dressed up in like full armor with like props, and everyone's like, "Wow, that's awesome!" So I'm particularly excited for that. But Ms. Ana Cavazos, have you ever been to a Comic Con before, or experienced or seen an event like this one?
I'll tell you my story. I've gone to the Texas Library Association convention I went for about maybe 25 years, and it was amazing. It was huge. I think one even reached like 7,000 visitors at one time. So it was massive, and it was everything that I experienced, everything I expected. When you're with like-minded people, it's amazing how they can all get excited for the same thing. And so, no, I haven't been to a Comic Con convention, but I'll tell you what, as we were leaving our convention a couple of years in a row, we were swarmed. We were in the elevator. We were swarmed with all these people dressed up in cosplay. So, I mean, we got to see anything from Captain Hook to just every DC Marvel character out there. And it was just amazing. And I thought, oh, here I'm standing with my little sweater, librarians, how we dress. Our little sweaters, our geeky little glasses, and a whole bunch of geeky bags and shoes. And here are these beautiful creatures walking into the elevator. And I thought, that's where I want to go. I've never been, but I'm excited about what we're gonna see here, because I think this is going to be a meld of all of that. And while we were all whispering to the universe and telling the universe we need one of these things here in the valley, and I remember we even got our chat together, right, David Norec? And here the universe answered, and I think that they have answered with the most phenomenal leaders, which is Katelynn and Jackie, and I think that they are just running with it, and it's going to be amazing. I just know it is. So yes, I've seen a little bit. I've been around it in the streets of San Antonio or Houston, wherever we were, and I've seen all these. The cosplay is just amazing. So I am looking forward to meeting all of them, meeting children, meeting the community, and meeting all these. I'm going to be fanning all over the place. So yes, I'm excited about that. Thanks for that. And Jeff.
Thank you so much. Yes, Jackie and I were very excited to be brought on as a part of the team, because it's a lot bigger in terms of like just how many moving parts are going on, but it's absolutely phenomenal the size that this is going to be. I like that you mentioned the TLA, because I think the closest to this size that you can get is like Austin. And so this is the first time it'll be in something of this magnitude in the Rio Grande Valley. And then, of course, the literary pop culture aspect, because we've had Comic Cons before, we've had celebrity guests before, and I always enjoy going just to meet the celebrities, the voice actors, dress up and all the things. But for this to be for book, like it's a Comic Con of just the books and the authors and the literature and the screenwriters, composers, illustrators. And so I'm so very excited and happy that the energy is spread and felt, and it's going to be really fantastic. So thank you for sharing. And Miss Claudia Villarreal, have you ever been to a Comic-Con before, or have you ever seen an event like this before?
Well, I too have been to TLA, but no, I have never been to a Comic Con before. But I regret. I lived in Los Angeles for 9 years, and I do regret, because I think San Diego is the biggest, or one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Comic Con event. And it's 2 hours away. And they have Alamo City Comic Con that I may, visit now. But the biggest thing that I've seen of this size has also been TLA as well. So again, I too am looking forward to this event. Looking forward to see what's going to happen.
Awesome. Yes, San Diego Comic-Con is on the bucket list of things to do. I'm going to go to San Diego Comic-Con one day, because it's huge and it's fantastic. But again, the closest thing would probably be Austin in terms of size, but we're bringing it here, and we're bringing it for the Comic-Con literary extravaganza, pop culture, all the big smorgasbord, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But I'm continuing to see hearts and likes on Facebook, so thank you all so very much. If you're tuning in on YouTube, say hello. If you're tuning in on Facebook, say hello. And if anyone in the audience has any questions or things they'd like to share, please feel free to leave a comment, say hi. The panelists are here to answer and say hello. But we talked about it a little bit already. But I wanted to dedicate a question just to this of what are the goals of your books or written works? Like, what are the messages you would like to portray? either in the actual story, maybe a bigger storyline that you want to portray this message. This is how you want to reach the readers. This is how you want to reach the audience. Through your stories, what is the message you are trying to portray? Starting with Miss Rosa Linda Cruz.
That's a really good question. I think mine just has like a theme, and the theme is ongoing from my children's stories to even through my workbooks, which is just being present in the moment and just really like being attentive to what you're being engaged in and not taking anything for granted and just appreciating everything that's around you, being grateful, being present, and remembering to look at our world with awe and wonder and fill your life with that energy and never taking anything for granted. Because when I look at the two categories, it's all tied in the same way. And I think that's so important because, I don't know how many times we'll go to restaurants and you'll see a family and everybody's on their cell phone and they're all doing something different. They're not engaging, they're not being present, and they're not really enjoying that moment for what it is, which is quality time. So I feel like that's the ongoing theme, which is a couple of them, right? But really just being present, being engaged, and filling your life with that love and energy that is around you.
I love that so much. Thank you so very much for sharing. And I'm sure that the message does get across. And the young readers and the parents that read the books to the children and the older readers that, get managed to have the story come across to them. I'm sure when you write something with passion and with intent, it is definitely felt. So thank you for sharing. And David Norec, what is the message or the goal of your story and the stories to come?
I just want to get in front of as many kids as possible and teach them about the importance of eating healthy and exercise. Back behind me, you see a big sign. The city of Mission has already agreed to put my book on 4 different parks, call them Fit Lit parks, where families can read the stories and then do the exercises as they read. And I know this is going to be the first of many other cities who are going to tag along and do this. As I go visit schools, it's just amazing how many kids don't want to hear about healthy eating and exercise. But if I can do my part and just get through one person, one doesn't matter what age, and get them to turn their lives around in those regards, that's all that matters. And so I'm going to keep writing these books and keep trying to get myself in as many people as possible so that this thing can spread as big as God wants it to.
Thank you so very much. And again, a true sentiment of this. The passion is absolutely felt. It's the brand. I feel like now, anytime I see orange and navy, I'm like, David. Like it's literally just it's being spread, it's being felt, and it's absolutely wonderful to see the passion, and it's definitely felt among the readers. You can tell. And Miss Ana Cavazos, what is the message or goal that you try to portray through your stories and your titles?
Well, definitely the theme in my stories is family, culture, insight to the regional culture here in our area. Most importantly, of course, focus on the stories of my family for me. But my goal, I think, is always to create that passion and love and joy for reading and for listening to stories, getting children involved. Hopefully, giving people tips, or the children or the parents, because I've spoken to parents about literature-rich environments and what they can do. Sometimes they don't have any idea. Sometimes they're doing it, they're reading stories, they have books laying around, they're doing some of it, but they're not doing enough. Maybe they're not actually picking it up and reading to their children, reading with their children. So that I give parents, which is very important. Even if you just buy books and just lay them, decorate with the books so the children can come up and read, I'm hoping that my stories will bring that joy to children, make them smile, make them love reading, and continue that literacy advocacy that we are all doing.
Thank you so very much, because I feel that is a very important point to touch upon, that literacy advocacy, because I know there's a famous quote that says, children become readers on the laps of their parents. And so planting the seed is especially important, whether it's a teacher, the parents, a family member. And I feel we are in a very blessed position to where we could very much be the person that plants the seed and sparks it with one story or one book school visit or something similar. So thank you so very much for sharing. And Miss Claudia Villarreal, what is the goal of your books or the message that you try to portray through your titles?
Okay, well, I'm going to answer that in a two-part. I'll first tackle the message of the books. With the message of the books, I always want these and any future books to include a positive or educational message. In the alphabet, we about the importance to love. You know, we learn about the importance of being kind. So always, and the super positive message. So those are the messages of my current books. Goals are to they're also like David with as many kids as possible for the book to expand. So I wanted to share, because I know it's getting towards the end of the panel. I wanted to expand. One of my goals for this year was to expand and with either plushes or things that come with the book. So I wanted to share with Elsie here, and I have the Vowels too. So I expanded with plushes on that, and then with Buddy, I have Buddy, and then I have Buddy's, pillow, So I did reach one of my goals this year, which I was very excited about, which is merchandising, and like I said, a positive message.
Thank you so very much. That is so exciting. I love the little finger puppets and all the things. That's so exciting. And I feel like that also, elevates it to where the students and anyone who reads, that is so epic to be reading The Bully Who Learned to Love while hugging the pillow and have the little plushie, and that's fantastic. Thank you so much. And we did have a comment come in from Miss Patricia Rentería saying, "This is a wonderful panel. Right now, more than ever, children and youth need to see themselves in books, connect with characters that are like them. The Storytellers and Legends Convention will provide South Texas students this awesome opportunity." And that is absolutely the goal. You can tell that you all truly write from a place coming from your heart, specifically for youth and students, but also just people in general to find themselves in the stories and turn their lives around, and truly profound messages through something as beautiful and magical as a nicely illustrated story told very well. And so super excited that you all will be a part of the convention. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And so again, to anyone on Facebook or YouTube, I see the likes, I see the hearts. Thank you so much. And if you all would like to ask a question or leave a comment, please feel free to do so. We are heading into the ending part of our panel, but probably my final question to you all today, depending on time, I may ask one more, but it's pertaining again to the Storytellers and Legends Convention. This is going to be an epic event where we'll have screenwriters, musicians, composers, illustrators, video game developers, voice actors, celebrities. There's going to be a lot. But I would like to ask, what are you most looking forward to about the event? This could be, celebrities or meeting students or experiencing a Comic-Con. But what are you most excited for the Storytellers and Legends Convention, starting with Miss Rosa Linda Cruz?
It'll be a new experience for me. And so I'm really looking forward to that, and just being surrounded by so much talent and just getting to meet our little readers and our community. I'm just going to embrace the whole moment. So I'm just going to enjoy it. And I'm like super excited because I think that this is a wonderful event for our community.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And absolutely just, I love the way you say the little readers. It's always so fun when you make the connection, especially for at a young age. But it's going to be exciting to meet readers of all ages, all backgrounds. It's going to be fantastic. And so, David Norec, what are you most looking forward to about the Storytellers and Legends Convention?
Staying home. No, I live about 5 minutes from the convention center, so it's going to be a week where I don't have to travel all across the valley. I can stay home and really enjoy being close to home. But every school that I go to, I ask the librarians, hey, are you guys going to the Storytellers and Legends Convention? And so the ones who haven't heard yet, I'm like, hey, we'll follow this on Facebook, and hey, get into this. And so I think it's just going to be a cool, because like Katelynn, I'm like you, I'm all about cons and all that all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I can't wait till like the next ones come. And so to be on the other end of, I know you've done it, but I've never really done it, to be on the other end and just to be able to meet a lot of people. And one of I don't know why, but like a lot of the kids, when we go do author visits, they think like we're like rock stars and superstars. And I get questions like, are you famous? I'm like, no, not really, and just being able to give back and to make myself available to whoever wants to come and say hi and ask for an autograph or whatever. I mean, that's really, I get so humbled by that. And I'm like, look, I'm nobody special, but if you want it, yeah, for sure. you know, I've been asked to sign a lot of different things. Some have been crazy. So I'm just looking forward to it.
Yes. And it's definitely a different experience. It's one thing to be the fan and go and, wide-eyed and dressed up to meet the other celebrities and things, but it's absolutely a totally different experience, and it's wonderful to have people come up and say, oh, you're an author, you
Yeah.
write books, because you hardly see that at Comic-Cons, at least in my experience. So to be making this convention specifically for the books and the written arts and other arts and things, I'm so very excited for us all to experience it, because it's gonna be so fun. And I wish it was in my backyard, because I'll be traveling, but that's exciting still. That's super nice. But Miss Ana Cavazos, what are you most looking forward to about the Storytellers and Legends Convention?
I'm super excited. I think that I've met a lot of authors, Jeff Kinney, Laura Burton, just so many, but I've never met R.L. Stein. So I am going to hopefully try to get his autograph on some of my books. I'm just like the kids. I'm excited to meet all the authors, all the screenwriters, the musicians, just and see how those components go together when they create. I'm pretty sure they create like audiobooks and things like that. I'm very, very excited about meeting them. But of course, I'm also excited about sharing my books, my works, my journey with children, with the community, with parents, with teachers. And my favorite part is when a child comes up to you and says, how can I write my book? And you can give them a book, or you can call me or email me or text me, and I'll help you with questions. I've had a few, call me or text me and ask me questions about where to go, where do I look, what do I do. So that's exciting. I think the connection between us and the children and the community is the best. So I'm looking forward to the entire thing. I want to see how it unfolds here in the Valley, because we needed this for a while.
Thank you so much. I keep saying it, but it's going to be so much, so much, so much more grand. Even knowing the scheme and the plans, I know the day of when it comes, it's just going to be far, far, far more grand and epic than is anticipated. And that's because a lot is anticipated, but it's going to be fun. And Miss Claudia Villarreal, what are you most looking forward to about the Storytellers and Legends Convention?
Well, I am excited about everything. All of the, I actually am excited about meeting the celebrities and storytellers. I'm excited about meeting with other independent authors from, South Texas, from the Texas area as well. I'm excited that it's the first time that this event has ever taken place, and it's the first time I'm attending, and not only attending, but being invited as an author. That's very exciting to me as well. And I'm also excited to meet a lot of new librarians and students and introduce my stories too. So everything about this is exciting, and I'm excited spending time with you guys too. So in person.
Yes, in person. Thank you so very much for sharing. And yes, again, this is the first ever Storytellers and Legends Convention. It is the first literary pop culture experience for the Rio Grande Valley. It's just going to be absolutely amazing. The level of it, the size. It's a week long, so it's just continued to grow and grow and grow. And there's a lot of good anticipatory things coming. And so I will give a final goodbye to you all with social media plugs at the very end, so that way people will be able to know where to find you after this, where your books are at, social media to follow. But I just wanted to conclude with a little bit more information about the Storytellers and Legends convention, because, again, this is unprecedented, and I have been showing them on previous panels, but the Right Crowd is the first place where these promo images are being premiered. But I've had one of them sort of playing behind me on the television screen. But I do have right here, the Storytellers and Legends Convention will feature authors, screenwriters, musicians, illustrators, celebrities, voice actors, video games, and more in the Rio Grande Valley's first literary pop culture experience. And I am incredibly excited to be able to share some of the names of those that are going to be at the convention, including R.L. Stein with Goosebumps, Dav Pilkey with Captain Underpants, Max Bralier with The Last Kids on Earth, the Chiodo brothers who created Killer Clowns from Outer Space, John Massari who did the composing for this Killer Clowns from Outer Space soundtrack, as well as Tab Murphy who wrote Disney movies such as Tarzan, Brother Bear, Atlantis, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and Alejandro Ochoa, who is an illustrator of Esquinkles from Mexico, will be coming over. And it is just phenomenal, the lineup. And then again, the independent authors to be showcased is going to be so very fun. So literary pop culture. It's
Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Yes.
Yes, they're coming. And please tune in to the Facebook page, because there's going to be epic things going on.
I'm bringing my DVD.
Yes, get it signed, get it done. It's gonna be so much fun. But again, you can find more information about everything going on. We have some cool stuff going on from Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So at Storytellers and Legends Convention on Facebook, and the URL for that is facebook.com/Storytellers Legends Con. But before we say goodbye on this Children's Book Nook panel for the 3rd annual The Right Crowd, final words, and where can we find you all after this, to anyone interested in your books or for following along with you, starting with Miss Rosa Linda Cruz.
My books are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Dimox, a couple of other places, but those are the main ones. And you can follow me on Twitter, Miss Rosa Linda Cruz, Instagram, Rosa Linda Cruz Author, and YouTube author, Rosa Linda Cruz.
Thank you so very much. And I also had your Facebook page on here too. So lots of cool links and lots of cool places to find. But Mr. David Norec, where can we find you after this?
The books, barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com, or my website, specifically davidnorec.com. And real quick, I am so stoked. I literally bought an inflatable clown suit like 2 weeks ago, not knowing that. I'm sorry, am I showing my nerdness right now? But I'm I'm like, I'm gonna wear that one of those.
You're in good company, yes.
Yes. Sorry, so you can find me there. I'm just really excited right now.
Yes, it's going to be. I can't give much more away, but the Killer Clowns from Outer Space is going to be 10,000 more levels above.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh, we have so much fun stuff planned, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And Miss Ana Cavazos, where can we find you after this?
You can find me on my website, on Facebook, author Ana Cavazos, on Instagram at RGB author Ana, and Author Central for Amazon, and my regular Facebook page, Ana Cavazos. You can connect there with me, and it connects to everything else as well. I'm on Twitter as well, but I'm not as active on Twitter. It's going crazy right now.
Yeah. But thank you so very much. And Miss Claudia Villarreal, where can we find you after this?
You can find the books in Amazon on Amazon and on DreamStarPublications.com. You can find more about the books if you search them on Facebook, The Bully Who Learned to Love as well. And some final words that I just want to say thank you, Katelynn, for always remembering, me and whatever you decide to do. So that really means a lot to me. So thank you so very much for everything.
Yes, of course. It's always a pleasure to support, and I see the impact that you all make whenever we have events and we are able to see each other, regardless if it's a literacy festival, if it's a library, or wherever our paths cross. You guys are such full of passion, and you really do make the connection with the students, and it's always so fun. And I talked about it a little bit on previous panels, but like we're book people, we're writer people, and like David was mentioning, like the geek, the nerd culture. It's so much fun. So I'm always honored and pleased whenever the platform can be given. It's like something like the right crowd, and then Storytellers and Legends is just going to be phenomenal. But we had one final comment come in from Chris Ponce saying, "Good job, great panel." Hi, Chris. Thank you for tuning in. And again, Storytellers and Legends Convention is happening February 20th through the 26th, 2023. These four wonderful panelists here, and myself included, will be in attendance. We have much, much more authors going to be attending, celebrity guests, composers, screenwriters. It's going to be fantastic, education-oriented entertainment. And I cannot wait for the Facebook post to be announced, because we got fun stuff, and it's going to be epic. But thank you again to you all for being on the panel. Thank you to everyone who gave hearts and thumbs up and tuned in. And the right crowd is not over. This was the final panel of the Saturday, the right crowd. But tomorrow we have panels at 10 a.m. for Fantastical Finds. That's fantasy novels. At 12, I will be streaming some videos because some authors were not able to join in live, but they still wanted to say hello. So I'll be sharing some videos of them, and you can learn about them before they attend the convention. And then at 3 p.m., we have a novel experience with young adult fiction novels. So cool, great lineup. Thank you again, Miss Rosa Linda Cruz, David Norec, Ana Cavazos, and Claudia Villarreal. It is always a pleasure to see you all, and super excited to see you all soon in February. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Katelynn.
Thanks, Katelynn.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.